Top 3 questions I get asked on this channel. What does the Amazon Relay load board look like? How do I book loads? And when I book those loads, how do I stay so local? These are the relay rates for Thursday, March 28th.
Let's get into those SoCal relay rates.
All right, attempt number 3. I was doing this outside on a bench, tried that a couple times, and people just like to talk to me. They're curious about what I'm doing with the camera. So moved into the car. It was going to be a cool little setup of, be out on a bench. We're in the back of the car now. One thing I wanted to talk about, one thing on here that I've had people like leave me comments about is, I put a lot of information on these screens, and I've had a few people say like it's hard to see or they can't see it. One thing you can do on these, because I upload all of them in like a pretty high quality. If you're watching one of these videos and you can't see everything, you can actually go onto YouTube. Let me turn this down. I don't need to hear myself talk. If you go to the top right, and I'm assuming most people are watching this on a phone, if you hit that little sprocket, and one of the things that comes down, it'll be like a default quality. If you go over to the quality and go to advanced, it'll let you select all the way up to 1080. If you're running this on 1080, if you can't see the stuff, see what your quality level is at, and then if you're not able to see it, bump that up to like 1080, and you should be able to see everything just fine on the screen. But wanted to cover that. Let's get out of this. As far as chapters go, going to look at like recommended up front, take a look at 53, 26, both in San Diego. We'll take a look at spot capacity, and then the pick city this week, Mark Holmes requested Seattle, so that's where we're going to look at after all of this. But let's go ahead and jump into this here. Let's look at recommended loads leaving San Diego. So this is, I do have early access, so this is like everything that you could possibly see here. San Diego, 1 pick, 1 stop. Going up to Paris, $238 a mile, $251 payout. They've had a bunch of these on there all day. These ones that are going to Dallas, Texas. 1 pick, 1 stop. They are loaded trailers. The little filled in circle there means it's a loaded trailer. If that circle were not filled in, that means it's an empty. Bunch of those, $201 a mile, $1.98 a mile, $1.94 a mile, $1.93. So a bunch going to Texas. Here's one going over to Phoenix. 1 pick, 2 stops. Let's see here. So from DSD1, they have you, I'm betting, taking an empty. Yep. Filled in or non-filled in circle there is empty. Going to this, when you see letters like that, like this Kohl's, it's probably like a Kohl's distribution center. That for sure is going to be like a third-party site. Getting it loaded there. They don't report the weights. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. A lot of these third-party sites, that's where, typical Amazon trailer is going to be like 10, 12,000 pounds loaded. At these third-party sites, without them saying anything, this could definitely go up to, like a max amount on that. We could be talking like 40, 45,000 pounds. So got to be aware of that. Fontana to Thornton, a couple of those. 1 pick, 1 stop. Those are loaded trailers. Let's see if there's any 26s here. There we go, 26. San Diego, 1 pick, 4 stops. Total of 5, ending in Mecca. They've got you starting at San 5, going to La Quinta, out to Coachella, out to Indio, and then ending up in Mecca. I'm willing to bet all those addresses are post office locations. I know I've looked before. If you end up in those desert communities in a 26-foot box truck, the closest place to find a connecting load, if the time will work, is going to be Beaumont. So Beaumont is the place to be. San 5, going to Temecula, 1 pick, 2 stops, total of 3. Starting at San 5, ending up going to Menifee, and then backtracking a little bit back to Temecula. So there's that. That was $331 $331 a mile, $353 total payout. Here's a 26 box truck. 1 pick, 3 stops, total of 4. Starting at San 5, going up to Mira Mesa Boulevard in San Diego, Vista, and then ending up in Lake Elsinore. So a couple of those. Let's take a look at 53s right now in San Diego. I'm not going to spend a ton of time here because I want to get to Mark Holmes' request for Seattle. You guys are probably tired of seeing San Diego. I just like to check on it because it's what I'm interested in. It's what I probably have the most commentary on. This is one thing I want to point out before we do anything. Let's turn that auto refresh off. 65 loads on the board. This has not been the case of all of 2024. The load count is coming up. Let's see if the prices are. Let's just go sort this price per distance highest. And, I mean, that's a decent rate. 487, 590. Payout starts at 608 tonight, but let's see where they have you going. Yeah, right there. Those numbers, that after DSD5, that 0-02, that's a third-party site, and that is going to take a ton of time. That's up in Beaumont. It has been my experience with these that even with an appointment time, everything, it's like it wouldn't be worth it. And then, you know, look at on here, they say it's going to take 11 hours and 32 minutes. I know 487 sounds good, but with a third-party site, that being kind of the great unknown, I mean, that actually could take longer than that. Here's a little Poway going back to Sand 5. Let's see where they have you stopping at. DSD8, Poway, Sand 5 to TIJ5. Now, TIJ5 is an interesting one. Even though it sounds like an Amazon acronym, that's actually a third-party site, and I know they close. From experience, I know they close every night between 2 and 3 at lunch. Let's see what time they have you getting there. Arriving at Sand 5 at 2 o'clock, leaving at 3, and then arriving at TIJ5 at 3:45. So you'd be surprised how many times they make you, or they assign you to arrive there at like 1:30. And the problem with that is if you don't get helped, or if you don't get unloaded before 2 o'clock, it's now going to take it. Even though it's no fault of your own, it's going to involve doing some performance disputes, because Amazon's going to look at that and say, why did you leave late? And it's like, well, you sent me to a place that was closed for lunch. It's happened to me. I have firsthand experience with that. Another DSD8 going to Sand 5. Actually, several of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All at 12:30, 12:28. Huh. Let's see if these are going the same thing. I suspect this is a mistake. If it were just DSD8 to Sand 5, I would totally believe that. I don't think there are enough trailers going from Sand 5 to TIJ5. I mean, they might send like a couple an hour. They're not going to send 5 loads to TIJ5. I think that this is just probably their AI running amok and scheduled 5 of these. I'm willing to bet that like probably the first 2 people will get them, and then the other 3 people are just going to end up getting like a cancellation, or they're just not going to send that leg of the trip. But there's no way that TIJ5 is going to get 5 trailers in the middle of the night. Let's just see if they're all. That other one was, yeah, leave at 3, arrive at 3:45. This middle one here was arrive at 3 at Sand 5, get there at 3:45. That for sure is a mistake. If they send 5 trailers to TIJ5 at 3:45 in the morning, it's not going to work. There's no way. They only have 2 dock doors. So I mean, it's just whoever. If let's say they do send 5 trailers, I feel bad for the other 3 who get those, because that's going to be problematic. And then the rest of these, I mean, here's Sand 5 to Buena Park, 4 stops, $3.55 a mile, $5.54 payout. Let's see if this is a third party. No, those are all Amazon sites, so that would be okay. Vista to San Bernardino, those are Amazon sites. That would be okay. Here's another Poway to Sand 3. Don't have you going to TIJ5. This has you going from Poway to Sand 5, back up to DSD1 as Carmel Mountain, about the same distance as Poway, and then from Carmel Mountain back to Sand 3. So I'll tell you what, I like the number of loads I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any of those crazy rates. I mean, 4 months ago, and I'm not talking just for the holidays, like most of 2023, I mean, let me tell you what these loads would have been paying. Poway to Sand 5, just that single leg of that was historically, that's been about a $350 trip. Sand 5 to TIJ5 back to Sand 5, they usually do that round trip. I mean, I've booked that for as high as like $500. So the fact that they're bundling all these trips together and paying $224 doesn't really have me interested or excited in it at the moment. But enough of 53. Let's look at 26. SD box truck. All right, only 12 of those. It's kind of funny. It's like feast or famine. When 53 does well in San Diego, 26 not so much. When 26 is doing great, 53 is not doing great. It's they kind of are reciprocal like that. Price per distance highest rate right now in San Diego, doesn't leave till Friday, so about a day away. $3.96 a mile, 1 pick, 4 stops, total of 5, ending up in Oceanside. Here's one pick, 3 stops, total of 4, ending in Ramona. San Diego ending up in Jamul. Jamul's out by me. Where do they have you going? They got you going from Sand 5 to San Diego to San Ysidro to Tecate in 𝕊𝕒𝕒. At least the good news there is they got you going to Tecate and then on the way back. Because if it ended in Tecate, guaranteed there's no loads out there. So that would be rough. At least they've kind of got you coming halfway back, stopping in 𝕊𝕒𝕒. And then the rest of these are all like $2.49 a mile. San Diego to San Clemente, $2.47. So not really anything too great. I'm happy to see the loads are back, the volume's back. I just want the rates to come back too. Let's take a look at spot capacity here. Yesterday, DPS5, 53 power only. This was going from Valencia to Phoenix, Arizona. 771 miles, $2,000. This is your one and only time to negotiate a higher rate for Amazon. Let's see, Mission Viejo team. Some people, you don't usually see team loads on here. This is one going from Mission Viejo, ending up in Commerce, Colorado. 1,058 miles. Their offer, starting offer, $3,400. And then San 3 to DSD1 to Rialto, or that's Riverside, I'm sorry. 106, or sorry, God, the sun is coming in here crazy. 111 miles for $500, so not bad. I mean, definitely tried to see if they can get more. One thing I learned on this, and I learned this recently. So this is Amazon spot capacity. You look at who this is coming from. This is who they've always sent the offers out from. ROC-brokerage@amazon.com. I noticed the other day that they were sending out shuttle requests. They send those out through a different email address. So if you got the ROC brokerage saved in your email address as like a VIP, here's a new one to add. Their brokerage shuttles comes out of ROC brokerage, ROC-brokerage-shuttles@amazon.com. They had a shuttle hostler request this morning, 222 for San 3. They're looking for somebody at starting at 4 p.m. It's not me because it is 4:07 and I am not there. Today they were looking for 10 hours, offering $70 an hour. Then before that, back on 3/17, they had a shuttle hostler request. This may fail to load. Huh, we have a shuttle. I've never seen one like this. Usually they send the little screen over. Anyway, this is for DAX5. I'm not familiar with DAX5, and then they had another San 3 day before. This one was for only 6 hours. They needed one driver, offering $70 an hour. So that's that. Enough of those. Let's take a look at Seattle for Mark Holmes. Let's start with box trucks there. Seattle, Washington. Okay, so this is like if box trucks are your thing, there are none within 75 miles of Seattle. Let's expand that out to 100. No matches. Let me be sure I got my, I'm looking for one-ways, round trips, solo drivers, max stops 5. All right, let's expand that out to 150. Okay, so the closest place to Seattle, let's sort this by deadhead shortest. The closest place to Seattle right now, keep in mind this is right now, these things always can change, is Portland, Oregon. Going back to, I never know how to pronounce this. Is it SeaTac? I know it's the airport up there. I've flown in there before, but SeaTac, Washington. That starts in Portland, goes to Kent, Washington, and then to SeaTac for $1.79 a mile. Let's sort this by price per distance highest. So $2.24 is top money coming out of Portland, going to Heppner, Oregon. Another one going to Heppner, Oregon, $2.19 a mile. It looks like this one's on Thursday, April 4th at 140. Second one's at Wednesday, April 3rd at 140. Next one is at Saturday at 140. So typical box truck stuff. It looks like they send this. I don't own a box truck. I've never operated a box truck, but it does appear to me that their loads they send the same loads at the same time every day to it's just a matter of like, booking those in advance and then hoping to pick something else in between. But I don't, people ask me like, how many loads can you do in a day in a box truck? I honestly don't know. If you do know and you want to leave a comment and let somebody, give somebody some insight, I'd appreciate it. Leave it in the comments. Other thing about this is, I almost glossed over this. This is for a 16-foot box truck, cube truck. Do they even have, yeah, so for an actual 26-foot one, they are on there. But yeah, when I search for box trucks, it is looking for, I tell it to look for all, both 26 and 16. All right. So not, I mean, currently, and again, this could change. I mean, you know, if I had checked this in 2 hours from now, would there be loads coming out of Seattle? Possibly. But I mean, you can see within 150 miles, there's not a lot of loads for a box truck in Seattle. Let's take a look at 53-foot equipment. So let's scale this back to 75. Let's change that to power only. And let's say you have your own trailer. We'll look for both. And then as far as power only, you're willing to take everything and apply that. Okay, so within 75 miles of Seattle, there are currently 17 loads. Let's do this. Actually, I like price per distance highest. We'll keep it that way. Thursday, April 4th, 4:30 in the morning. So, God, that's like a week out. $7.15 a mile, $200 payout. They've got you starting at Seattle, going to Bellevue, Washington, going to Seattle, Washington, and then to SeaTac. You have to let me know, is that SeaTac or SeaTac? Kirkland, $6.63 a mile, ending up in SeaTac. One pick, 4 stops for a total of 5, starting out in Kirkland, going to Seattle, to Washington, Seattle, Washington, and then to SeaTac. Here's Kent, Washington to Kent, Washington, 8 stops. Here's what you got to be aware of with 8 stops. Let's say right now I book this and I'm excited for the $5 a mile. If Amazon comes along to one of these stops and says like, hey, we didn't need you at stop 2 and stop 5, they can actually reduce the payout because of that. I don't really think that that's right. I stay away from these long. I mean, I'll do like 1 to 2 or 1 to 2 to 3. But as far as these 1 to 2 to 8s, I don't like them because they, if they start canceling them, it's going to affect your payout, and that's no fault of your own. I mean, I think if you signed up for this, this is what you should be getting. If they don't need you at a stop, I still, my personal thought on it is, I still think they owe you for it. Washington, 4 stops to Arlington. I got the black box to come up. I hate it when I do that. Starting at BF17, which is Sumner, Washington. This is a third-party site. It's not the typical BF17 or BFI7. It's when you see the like SWA_US_Giantex9, that for sure is a third-party site. Taking the empty trailer there, getting that empty trailer loaded. I highly doubt that this weight is accurate. They say it's going to be 0.5 kilograms. It's 2.2 pounds to a kilogram. We're talking like 1 pound. What are they going to put on this trailer? I don't think that right. I don't think that weight is right, but I admire them for at least reporting something. And then taking it from there to Kent, Washington, then to Arlington, Washington. Because it's got a third-party site in there, let's see how long. They have it chalked out for 6 hours and 26 minutes. Arlington to 5 total stops, ending up at BFI7. They've got you starting from Arlington, Washington. It's actually a big trip, but $1.74 a mile. Arlington, Washington to Kent, Washington. Stop 2 is going from Kent to Spokane. 3 to 4 is Spokane going to Fife. And then 4 to 5 is going from Fife to Sumner, Washington. So they kind of got you traversing the whole state there. Then we're down to like $1.73, $1.70. Let's just see if you're willing to go more than 75 miles. Like, let's bump that up to 100 miles. Still 17. How many were there with 75? 17. Okay, so there's no real bump there. The same 17 loads. Let's increase that to 150. Now there's 38. Price per distance highest. So still Seattle, Kirkland, those same loads we were seeing. Now it's including Portland, Oregon, and stuff like that. And, you know, if you're curious, like if you're willing to drive down to Portland, they've got a load going from Portland to second stop is Salem, and then from Salem to Eugene. So these were all, we saw these. Kent, Washington, Troutdale is new, but it's $1.58 a mile. I mean, one pick, 3 stops, total of 4, starting in Troutdale, Oregon, going to Longview, Washington. That is 2 third-party sites. I don't even want to look. Last time I thought like 16 hours, and it was over a day. Let's see what they have this one booked out for. Yeah, 1 day, 5 hours. And the fact that there's 2 third-party sites, I believe it's going to take every second of that. So, and then let's see, here's a Hillsboro going to Vegas, $1.40 a mile, $1,600 payout. I see 2 third-party sites, Albany, Oregon, and Las Vegas, Nevada, for sure, 2 third-party sites. It's going to take 2 days, 5 hours for $1,600 at $1.40 a mile. So not ideal. Let's pick next time's winner. Hopefully that answers your question, Mark Holmes. Happy to do this for you. If you'd like to have your name end up on my little list, I have a little list here on my phone of everybody who has requested me to do these in relay rates. Please, please, please treat me like I'm stupid. Say, hey, I want to see this in long format. Hey, I want to see this in relay rates. If you leave me a confusing comment, I just treat me like I'm dumb. I just, if you say like 26 feet, San Diego, I'm going to think you want a load board video, and that's probably what I'm going to do. So make it as easy for me as you possibly can. But I have 8 names on the list. Let's go over to start a new tab, random number generator. And I said I have 8 possibilities, 1 through 8, generate number 7. Number 7 is Sukhpreet Singh Kangura. Hopefully I'm close. Vacaville, California. We're doing that one next. If you want your name on this list, let me know, and I'll put it on the list, and we'll do a random number each time. What am I doing today? I'm excited that those loads are back on there. I mean, what are we talking? We said there's 50-something loads here in San Diego. I got my eye on a couple. Got an appointment right now, but finishing up with this, and we'll see what we can do later tonight.